Here I am. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here for a late night for you guys. I'm here with Ashmatic. I'm here with DK. Ash, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Feeling a little bit tired, bit exhausted, but we move, man. We move.
DK, Ban, Danny, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm good because our best player is just about to go to Bayern Munich, so I'm definitely not good. Yeah, I think it's better to get into it, Ben. I mean, I want to know how you're feeling, how you guys are all kind of really feeling. Because
I think we can just look at each other's faces and we can tell how we're feeling right now, to be honest. But it's a dark day. It's a dark day in the history of this club where we have to sell. You know, how many years now after leaving the stadium when they said we're going to start competing with the big boys, and we're selling our best ever player that this academy has ever produced. It's actually makes me sick to my stomach how they can let this happen.
Yep.
Because we can't match the ambition of the player himself, a player that we produced out of our academy. We can't match the ambition of, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I know I've gone straight into the deep end here, but Ash, what just run me through your thoughts, man.
We want to thank Kane for everything he's done for us, all the memories he's created for so many Spurs fans, the iconic goals, the contribution he's done for Tottenham. And for me, he just gave us that fear factor, Not only is he a academy graduate, one of our own, people often put him as a one-season wonder. And how many times did he have to prove them wrong? Time after time after time. And I think he is the true essence of what Tottenham is all about. They never give us a chance. Anytime we are looked at as a team that are not to be taken seriously, they did that with Kane. And every time he just put his hearts in his sleeves, he turned up, never argued with anyone, never had any issues, any trouble with anyone. And he was our talisman. He was our go-to guy. He was our kingpin. He was our main striker, England's number one. He meant so much to the actual Premiership as well. I think the Premiership are losing a great, in my opinion. They're losing a top striker. I think Arsenal fans feared us because he loved to score against Arsenal. And it's no greater joy for us that we had a player that every time we turned up at Arsenal, they were quivering their boots. So yeah, he's going to be sorely missed by not just the Spurs community, but I think actual Premiership itself. We're losing a great talent, a great player. Left foot, right foot, headers. I remember him bursting onto the scene against Chelsea when he was doing dribbling past players, scoring goals. I remember the iconic moment. He rips off the mask, hits it top, bins like crazy, like just volleys. You name it, he's done it. He's even played in goal for us. I mean, we often bantered about Kane hitting free kicks, like, oh, get him more free kicks. But, we look back and we laugh now. We've had so many great memories, and he will be sorely missed by all Spurs fans, man. I truly wish him well. I wish him all the best. And I'm glad, for me, I don't know about for you guys, I'm glad that he was a part of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And he really did raise the level, It just goes to show, like, hard work can outprove talent, And I think he really had that hard work, that ethic. And he's a true professional to young professionals looking at, even outside of football. If you're just trying to aspire to something, if you put the work in, you truly put those hours in, you can really get to the top. And I think he wasn't going to leave for a second-tier team. He's only going to the best, whether it be Man City, best team in the league, Real Madrid, one of the best teams in Spain, or Germany, Bundesliga, best team. He's not going to any second-rate team. He's only going to go to the best, and he deserves that. For him himself, he deserves that. And yeah, I just there's nothing more I can really say on the matter, because he is a true legend. He broke the goal scoring records for us. And I think that was a momentous moment. But it's a shame that we weren't able to match his ambition at the time when we were on the cusp of winning things. And it's a shame we didn't build upon the time that he was here. I think we could have really built on that. Really, a lot of fans are feeling that you're losing the player and we might be playing from a weakened position. And it might take a while before we come up. We will come back up. I'm still going to be positive. We will come back up. I know a lot of fans are thinking this is the end. Now Kane's gone. It's a shit show. Like the whole world's coming in. But I'm gonna leave it on a positive note. I think we can no longer be called Harry Kane FC. There is life after Kane. I know it's fresh, guys. I know we're raw, but I honestly think we can build out of it. That's what we've done.
Ash, first of all, let's introduce the new guest to the show. We got Ryan Isaacs. How you doing, Ryan?
All good. I'm going to start things off on a funny note. Kane didn't touch that ball off his shoulder when Eriksen had the free kick at Stoke. It went straight in.
Yeah,
and he should have squared it to Sterling. He was onside and we'd have been in a World Cup final.
We got Sim and we got Sava as well. How you doing,
Hello.
Sava? How you doing, Sim?
I'm good. I'm not as downbeat as the rest of the fan base, man. Like, I know what's going to happen here. This is going to turn into a great big, Levy out, blah, blah, blah. Levy's done the right thing on this occasion. He's done the right thing. He's done the right thing. No one will admit it, but he has.
The worst thing, in my opinion.
Of course, because you're so Levy out.
No. I genuinely think, for Levy's sake, this is the worst thing he could have done. Hear me out.
Go on.
If Kane walks on a free and goes, let's say Chelsea, the entire fan base, yes, they go Levy for a sec, but who would they target for going to a rival? Harry Kane. Everything gets swept under the carpet for Levy. Everything. When Sol Campbell went to Arsenal, it was all about Sol Campbell. You go to a direct rival, it's all on the player.
It's true.
Right.
We still sing about Sol Campbell to this day.
Yeah.
We never sing about Alan Sugar allowing that to happen.
Wasn't it Levy that let it happen?
I think it was Sugar just before he met. If it
Sugar.
was Levy, then he should have gone 23 years ago.
I can't even remember the year. I'm really old. I don't get. Sorry, I might be stupid. I'm not sure the point you're making. Like, what are we?
Levy has taken this deal because of the money. We can all agree on that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? If it wasn't for the money, he'd stay.
Sure.
All of this is going to laugh in Levy's face for the fans for the next 2-3 weeks. It may die down, it may not, depending on results.
Okay, let me throw right. We've got to be really careful how we act as fans here, right? Because I've just been on another show saying, right, for every action that happens here, the opposite action happens here, right? If you're going to blame Levy for one of those actions, then he can't be blamed for the other one. And we've got to be careful which one we pick. Now, I hate Daniel Levy. I want those guys to go. But the key thing is this. There are many players that get to the last year of their contract that leave a football club. We as Tottenham fans get really emotional about it because it's Harry Kane.
Can you name me one that's come through the academy?
Well, hang on. Let me get a point out. Like, hang on, you've got to give me a chance.
Mount right? Through that.
Right.
Big up Josh King, by the way. Welcome to the stream.
Cheers. Yeah, I'm just here to cry.
Not many clubs get to have a player of Harry Kane's quality for nearly a decade. I think it's 9 or 10 seasons he's been in that first team. Most clubs, hang on. Yeah, but we're missing a point. Whether he's won anything or not, right? That's a completely separate subject. Not many clubs get that, and players leave clubs all the time. Like every year, big clubs lose their players. Us Spurs fans take this so personally, but we've had him for a decade. Like, how many off the top of your head can you name that come through and stay for longer than a decade? You're either Giggsy, the boys at Man United, like Gary Neville.
All the United.
Right, okay.
But point, no, Sava. I don't think that's the point. The point for me is he was willing. He was willing to do his whole career here if we were going in the right direction, and that's why these ownership. this ownership are going to have blood on their hands.
I agree.
They have let the best player this academy has ever produced out the door when he was willing to stay because we couldn't match their ambition.
But the thing is, we've known that for ages. Listen, I agree, and I don't like the owners, but we've known this for ages. This isn't new. This didn't spring up on us all of a sudden.
It doesn't need to be new to get angry about it.
But there's no anger from me.
You're telling me you're not angry about this situation? Like you seem relatively calm about it.
Yeah, because we've known it's been coming for years. Like, I don't know, this situation was happening from the moment he wanted to go to Man City. Why are any of you 2 years later surprised? Like,
but
if I was Daniel Levy, chairman of Tottenham, multi-billionaire with Joe Lewis at the time was owner of Tottenham.
Yeah,
and you're seeing Harry Kane wanting to leave to Man City because of the lack of ambition.
Yeah. I agree.
What are you then going to do? That's your prized asset. You're going to do everything it takes to keep him.
See, this is the problem. See, this is the difference of us Spurs fans. Everything we talk about is pleasing Kane, pleasing Kane, pleasing Kane.
No,
right?
Hang on. You always talk about your best player. It's not just Tottenham. But you talk about building a team around them.
It is just Tottenham.
It's about reading. No.
You've got to let me finish, man.
No. You cut me off, so it works both ways. You did.
I've not cut you off once. I've not cut you off.
But it's not just Tottenham. It's not just Harry Kane. It's every club. When you've got a gem or 2 or 3 gems, you build the team around them. We have failed to do that with Kane, Eriksen.
Can you name me another team off the top of your head built around one player?
Sorry, that to build a team around one player, Gerrard.
One player.
Right away at Liverpool, Gerrard. They brought in Suarez, they brought in Coutinho, they brought in...
So what we're saying is over a number of years, they had created a different team, right? Liverpool didn't just have Gerrard.
Liverpool within 1-2 years of each other.
Yeah, but Liverpool had better players anyway. It wasn't like they literally had Gerrard and 10 other crap players, right? Spurs have always been a one-man team, right?
We had Son, we had Dembele. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about we had Son, we still had Alderweireld, we still had Lloris, we still had Trippier.
Sure.
There was just a few bits and holes, especially when Eriksen wanted to leave. When Eriksen wanted to leave after that Champions League final, that was the point when we should have gone, okay, reset. When Poch wanted the reset, he should have got 2 or 3 out the door and brought 2 or 3 in. Sir Alex Ferguson, mastermind, 25 years at the top of the game for one reason. He was a master of cleansing that squad just a little bit and bringing in a few little.
Sure. But we're talking about managers cleansing squads that have been winning things. Pep Guardiola is the perfect example now. He knows when to move people on. He brings them in. We're not that club. We've not been that club, right? This is the problem. If I'm going to play devil's advocate, now I know because of this I'll be called a Levy in, even though I've been Levy out since before most of you probably, right? I've been Levy out since 2007, right? But I'll also, as Danny knows me better than any of you guys in it, I'll try and play it fair. I'll try and play a straight bat, right? Tottenham Hotspur, if we're going to say we didn't build around Harry Kane, it was terrible, blah, blah, blah. The last 3 or 4 years, sure. Right? What about that team that was brilliant for 3 or 4 years where Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Dembele, Toby Alderweireld, and they failed to win anything? Right?
We didn't add to it, though.
No, I know, but that's not the question I asked. That's not the question I asked. Like, at that time, we had a really good team. And if you remember, Josh, at that time, Spurs fans were all over Twitter, Facebook, whatever, before YouTube was a big thing, going, you can't bring that player in. They're not going to sit on a bench behind Kane, behind Dele Alli. The moment that team started to fall apart, it was, Levy hadn't built. Well, hang on. No fan was asking for it. And then all of a sudden, that team started to fall apart. Yes, we should have built upon it, and we didn't. But this summer, he's done the right thing. This summer.
Levy, you mean, yeah?
Levy, this window, has done the right thing with Harry Kane.
I agree.
We could talk about the past, but this summer, Kane had to be sold. If he walked on a free, that would have been the biggest bit of gross negligence and poor management from any football owner anywhere in the world. If he
did he have to leave on the cusp of the season?
But that's not Daniel Levy's fault. Daniel Levy, I can't believe I'm sticking up for Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy, everyone said it. Romano, Ornstein, you've all seen the same things I have. they have all said from day one of these negotiations, Levy wants 100 million in sterling. It must be sterling. It must be sterling. It must be sterling, right? They came in with 1 bid, with 2 bids, with 3 bids. When did they hit that 4th bid, guys?
They never did.
Well, they
I
did
don't know.
yesterday.
We don't.
Now.
Yeah, that was the 5th
Well,
bid.
but
Is
it's
it
not.
100 million?
Go on, Tim.
Is it 100 million?
It's
Is that what we're
95
getting?
and 97.
Okay,
So we're not
95,
getting it.
97.
Well,
Right,
for the sake of
okay.
10 million, we've destroyed the preparation of our season, basically.
Hang on. We just said it's between 95 to 97. For the sake of £3 million, the preparation for our season isn't destroyed because Harry Kane's not starting. The preparation of our season. Okay, but Sim, so then
the preparation of our season was destroyed because we only had 3 preseason games.
Exactly. The preparation of the season
Yes,
isn't
he's
based on Harry Kane.
been starting every game, and has been expecting him to be here.
Just Brentford.
I don't think he's been expecting him to be here. And I don't think.
Why has he started him every game?
Each game for game.
Just in case.
Definitely had plans for Kane to play against Brentford. That's literally it.
Did Kane want to sign? Did Kane want to stay? Do you think Kane wanted to stay? Anyone?
No,
I don't think he wanted to stay.
He's not wanted to be here for 3 years, Ash.
So I did laugh when everyone was saying
what are we doing as Spurs fans? If Kane doesn't want to stay, what are we doing?
When people have been saying like all summer, like, oh, Kane, you know, like me and you, Sim, when we were having that convo about, like, you were like, oh, he's open to going to Bayern. I was like, no, he wants to go to Bayern. This wouldn't be happening if he doesn't want to go to Bayern. It's like, I don't understand how people didn't see. And I'm more upset than anyone about this. I didn't want him to go, but I just knew he was going to go because it's just been obvious. Like Sava says, like, for the whole, since City. But the one thing I would say is Ryan's original point was about like Levy, and the best thing for him to do for his PR and stuff, which is, I still think the best thing for Levy to have done is to let him run down his contract, because now the way fans think, it will be Levy's fault. Do you know what I mean? We're all blaming Levy. Everyone's like, Levy. But in this situation, what is he meant to do?
I'm not blaming Levy for selling him, but I'm blaming Levy for putting Kane in a position where he feels like he has to go to the Bundesliga.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Levy's played the blinder here. This is the best option. He doesn't go to a rival. This is the best thing that could have happened in this situation. Like, imagine.
But hold on, Josh.
Situation happened.
That's the best thing for Tottenham fans. Is that the best thing for Harry Kane?
Who cares?
It's not the best thing for Harry Kane, but I don't care.
Who cares? I actually agree. Who cares? Harry Kane.
People clearly care because you're sitting there saying you're happy that he's not going to be playing for a rival.
I care for Spurs, not for him.
Yeah, I don't care where he plays, Sav. I don't care if he went to a rival. I said this on your stream, Sav, for the last few days or so. It didn't bother me where he ended up, as long as it wasn't Arsenal. I don't care, and I don't think he would have gone to Arsenal. Like, for me, look, I wanted Kane to stay purely because for me, it's what Kane represents, right? For me, Daniel Levy selling Kane, it's obviously he had to. You can look at it in the sense where he has to make money on him from a business point of view, right? I said that he probably wouldn't leave this summer because I didn't think that Bayern Munich were going to hit the £100 million that Harry Kane, what they wanted for Harry Kane. But obviously they've obviously got closer to it, right? So it looks like it's going to be a record transfer for Spurs, right? So, and Daniel Levy's willing to kind of take a little hit from what he actually wanted and change the fee so he can accept it and get the money, right? But for me, what it represents is that over the years we've had Harry Kane, we've never kind of matched the ambition of what the fans maybe wanted at the time we were in our best moments, right? When we had the opportunity in our best time on the Poch, that's when we should have invested and got those extra players to kind of take us to that next level. And we never did. And selling Kane now kind of, for me, represents that I don't think the ambition's ever going to be there from the board. So, and my next worry is, like, are we going to actually spend the money that Kane's coming into the club from Kane, or have we already spent it on the players that we brought in already? And that's the big problem, because if we're not going to go and buy players, right, because we've already spent the money, then we're in a massive problem, in my opinion. I think we're very short if we're relying on Son and Richarlison as our striker options.
What do you think, though, Danny? Do you think we've spent the money?
it's so hard to tell, Ben, like, because we've spent, if you actually look at how much money we've spent, if you include, no, people don't want to do this, but if you include Pedro Porro, you include Kulusevski, it's nearly 170 million pounds. Like, with all of the players we've signed, including them, it's a lot of money. So
I'm surprised you haven't included Romero in that.
Because we did do the same with Gareth Bale, didn't we? When we sold Gareth Bale, we signed all those players and then sold Gareth Bale right at the end.
We did, Ben, but we hadn't spent 170 million prior to selling Harry Kane. So if you want to look at like what we've actually spent already, it's roughly around that kind of mark, right? So if we get 95 million pounds, and it's not going to be 95 million, I think, straight cash. It's going to be I think it's less than that. It's like 86 million straight cash with the add-ons as well, right? To take it to like 103 or something like that. Yeah. So it's 86 million pounds is what we're getting for Harry Kane probably right now. I would assume, unless it's split in two, right? But if you actually look at it, like if you minus that from what we've actually spent already, it's like we've only spent what, 70 odd million or so, 80 million pounds, 85 million pounds. So then our Spurs going to go and spend another 100 million, right, to take their total to like 280 million pounds on 3 more players. I'm not sure.
If he does, Danny, if he does though, what then? What do we say then about the owner if he does spend 170 million, then whacks another 100 million pounds on top of that?
Depends on the players.
That's exactly it, Josh.
Of course.
For any of that, when Aston Villa sold Jack Grealish, what did the owner or the executive director, what's the first thing he done?
Made a public statement.
There you go.
Yeah, about his ambition. But what's that?
Let's see something like that.
Wendeya, Bailey, and Danny Ings. He went, these guys will cover the goals. This is the reason we sold him. They've triggered the release clause. This is where we want to be as a football club and moving forward.
Yeah, but
do we need that from Levy? I think we all know the answers. We don't need that from him, do we? We know why he's been sold.
And if you do get it, everyone's going to be like, oh, it's just Daniel Levy is with his old bullshit again.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Sometimes we've got to be careful because you can't just, he will be damned. And I don't like him again. I'm going to say I don't like him, but sometimes
damned if he does, and damned if he doesn't.
It doesn't. Listen, look, at the end of the day, for me, I see it like this. Like, I've seen players come and go before, like Kane. Yeah, they come, they go, we move on. Other clubs, they come, they go, we move on.
You've never seen a player come and go like Kane because there's never been a player like Kane and there never will be.
He came through the academy.
Ben, it depends how old you are, my friend. I've seen Glenn Hoddle, Chris Waddle leave, Paul Gascoigne leave, Gaza leave, Ginola leave, Bale leave. Yeah, I have seen players like Kane come and go. So
yeah, yes, but none of them are like Harry Kane through the academy, been here for that many years as well, and been at the top of his game for that long.
Glenn Hoddle, no. Not the greatest player that ever played for
Glenn Hoddle at the top of his game for 10 years at Spurs?
I think you'll need to do a little bit of research, Ben. Glenn Hoddle was God, right?
I know he was God. I know what he could do on a football pitch, but I'm saying about the longevity.
Okay, but the fact that we've had him for that long, as I said earlier, clubs don't often have players that good for that long, right? They don't. Look, at the end of the day, I know you're losing a top-class striker, but you know what? This football club for the last 4 or 5 years has been geared around Harry Kane. We're mocked by other fans for being the Harry Kane team, right? Our fans, you can't have it both ways. Our fans get really upset. Oh, my God, everyone's saying we're the Harry Kane team. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Right, can't have it both ways. Now, this team will be a team. There is no superstar there now. There is no superstar. There is no Harry Kane there. This team will be a team. This manager has a style of football, a philosophy, an ethos which doesn't revolve around doing everything through one man. We will be better than last season. We will finish higher than 8th with this manager without Harry Kane, and we will spread the goals out everywhere. People won't be able to see that right now because of the hurt, because of the pain, because it's Harry Kane. When the dust settles and you start seeing how we play, you will see a plan starting to be formulated and a new era begin. It's not the end of the world.
I don't doubt that. No, I think you're right. And I think there is a way forward without Harry Kane, but it doesn't mean we wouldn't have been better if Kane would have stayed, which I think is true.
Yeah, I think it would have been insane if Kane actually stayed for this season.
I would have loved to have seen it.
Unless
we knew he wasn't.
Right? People are going to be a bit annoyed that he's gone.
But we knew he wasn't. That's the thing. We're saying it would have been great. We knew he wasn't. He's 30. He deserves a chance now to go and try and win some trophies. We've had 10 years of him.
At one point, people were saying Harry Kane won't fit the system, yeah. But then he banged 4 goals, and then everyone just switched.
Everyone wants him now, innit?
What was the energy? Like,
I never said that.
You know what? I don't think Kane can press the way he presses. I'm just throwing it out there. Do you know what I'm saying?
That was my switch, Ash. That was my switch. I was happy to sell him. I really was. I was ready. I was literally ready to put Harry Kane, like, all right, cool, go to Bayern Munich. We'll get Gift Orban. We can start a new thing under Ange Postecoglou. As soon as those 4 goals went in, it's like, I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, but this is the thing again. This is the thing. It's this over this. This is the problem. It's this over this. First of all, it was a friendly against a very, very bad football team. Right? Yes, he scored 4 goals, but deep down, you know, he was going to score goals in whichever team he plays in.
This is what football is. If you don't have this, you need this.
Ben, of course. But Ben, there is having
this football club.
Of course. But then at some point, when this stops ruling, this will kick in, and you will realise that we're starting a new era, right? And Sean made a brilliant point, right? Which I think a lot of people took the wrong way. Okay, he said, if there is a time to lose Kane, it is now with this manager, with this ethos, this style of play, and a brand new era. And I agree with him. Let the manager start fresh so that he's never known Kane. Let's be fair, he's never known Kane apart from 90 minutes worth of friendlies. So we start fresh. The manager can put his own ideas, build his own thing. Will it be brilliant in year 1? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But we can build and grow, and we move on. But what we've got to do now, just really quickly, what we've got to do now, and then I'll shut up, I promise, for 5 minutes. What we've got to do now is, if he is gone, if we do get the green light, the next couple of months needs to be getting behind Postecoglou and whoever starts, 100%. And not every time we lose a game or don't score going, oh, we shouldn't have let Harry Kane go. It will be done. It will be dusted. We move forward. I've seen it before, guys. We've moved forward without players like Berbatov and Keane, and we got better, right? We lost Bale. Eventually, we got better. We will get better.
Have you not seen Gary Jacobs' update?
Go on.
What he said.
He goes,
go on, Josh.
Richarlison is expected to step in and lead the line next season with Kane gone. Tottenham want to do a deal to sign a young backup to the Brazilian, either Gift Orban or Brennan Johnson. And Gary Jacobs just been spot on like this summer. So he was the one that was saying.
He's the one that broke
I think Gift Orban is a talented player. I think I've been saying I wanted him all summer, and I think if you're gonna go and sell Harry Kane, you've got to go and bring in one of the hottest property young strikers in Europe right now. And I think, for me, Brennan Johnson is nowhere near good enough to play for Spurs, in my opinion. I think he's very average. I think he's all right. He's not anything great. But what I've seen in Gift Orban, he is a special talent.
It's more the thing that they're
three names. Gift
Hold
Orban.
on, Ryan. Go on, Josh. What are you saying?
No, I was just saying that. Like, thinking that Richie is going to be expected to lead the line, though, is a bit worrying, to be honest, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's dead, but like, I don't want him to be our first choice. I want someone that is actually seen as competing.
Do you know what, Josh? I agree with you.
You have to give him a chance, man. 60 million. Like, we
do you know what?
last summer. We have to give him a chance.
Ben,
I'm not saying sell him. I'm not saying sell him. Give him a chance, but he should not be like, if Gift Orban's coming in, I want him to like start. Do you know what, Josh? I just don't rate him.
Do you know what? I said it. Everyone on this panel knows my feelings about Richarlison. I said it from before he even joined the club. I think he was going to be one of the biggest flops Spurs have ever had. Right? I think
he already is.
If you look at his overall game, right? If you look at his overall game, his first touch is horrible. He can't hold up the ball. His heading is atrocious, right? He can't finish. He's always offside, constantly offside.
Yeah.
Even his passing at times lets him down, right? So I'm not sure how he's going to lead the line. And this is why, do you know what? I honestly believe, that the club and Ange Postecoglou already know this about Richarlison. But
I hope so.
Because he's already, I've seen things that I think that I just got this feeling that they already don't have that trust in, or especially Ange don't have that full trust in Richarlison. But So having said that, I think now because Kane is going, right, I think this is now Richarlison's chance that he's wanted to have at this club since he's signed, to now go and see if he's capable of doing what he thinks he can do, right? But to add to that, you have to bring in a young striker, because at least that way, if you bring in a young striker,
we've got one as well, remember?
Well, we've got Veliz as well, right? But then what you have then is you've got Veliz, right? You've got if you bring in a Gift Orban, you get Gift Orban, Veliz. You've got Son who can also play there, and then you've got Richarlison. So if Richarlison doesn't do what he should be doing, then you can rotate between the strikers and see what works for the system for whatever match you're playing, whatever tactics Ange Postecoglou wants to play on the certain day. And I think you'll see a bit of rotation with the strikers until he kind of feels who he feels is the one he wants to kind of keep as the first striker.
Danny, you actually said it from early. Danny called it. He said Richarlison was brought into the club to replace.
I said it. Yeah.
Danny, we talked about this last year.
We did. Me and Sam were talking about this last year.
Which is why, Danny, I can't be upset Kane is going, because we knew it was coming.
I get you. Look,
Danny, you knew it. You kept telling everyone. You're like, this club. Remember, you're like, but this club, I can't believe it, because you had the intel.
Quickly, can I ask who starts on Sunday then?
Brother,
who starts on Sunday?
In my ear now, I can still hear
you.
See?
Would you start Richarlison or Son and then Solomon on the left, or would you?
It's going to be Richarlison, Son.
It'll be Richarlison.
And if that's not working, what do you do? If that say like Richarlison goes 3 games without scoring a goal,
I think it's got to be Son, right?
I would put Son through the middle, Perisic out wide, maybe, and then on the right.
Yeah, I would start. If Richarlison up front, I'd actually play Solomon.
Let's bring Jory in. What's going on, Jory? How's it going, man?
Thanks, guys. I just wanted to touch on Sava's original point, which I, by the way, absolutely agree with Sava. In this situation, it's the right thing to do. I think both, maybe at least you, Ben, and I think Sim. I think a lot of fans that spent too much time watching this club had come to that conclusion. I do think the game against Shakhtar really, did something to many of us. But I think what's also, you also have to acknowledge, this is now the other shoe has fallen. Now we're stuck with the fact that Harry Kane's history at Spurs ended with a sale. It didn't end with titles. It didn't end with trophies. It didn't end with any glory. And that's supposed to happen when you have a gem like Harry Kane. When you get a generational England player like Harry Kane, you're supposed to have some history connected with that guy. We have no history. We have his history, his personal history, but that's not ours, as we know, So I completely agree with your assessment, Sava, and I'm actually happy that we not, because I'm kind of convinced we can't progress as a club with Harry Kane anymore. It's like the whole thing is bad, and it went bad at the UCL final, in my view. That was really the critical point from which we couldn't bring it back anymore, and we just need to pick ourselves up and do it again. But I do think what's also important to reflect on is it doesn't matter if it's bringing players in, if it's backing managers, if it's developing absolutely amazing talent. You will only see failure from this board and leadership. That's all we get. It's always failure. It's not about the money. They spend money. It's funny, we're talking about Richarlison here. It's funny, when we decide to go all out, no other clubs are in for it. And that's when Levy feels comfortable, because he doesn't have any competition. Why aren't people in for Richarlison for 60 million? Why aren't they in for Ndombele? They took a look and then they back up. Why is that? That's because they do that due diligence and not just go willy-nilly about it as our board has done, and we fall into these traps when we finally spend some big money on players, But I would say it's important, although I do absolutely agree, Sava, I think it's the right decision, but I think it's a very sad day for Spurs. Very sad. because now we're facing the reality of yet another failure, and we failed a whole squad of brilliant players. We failed a brilliant manager. We failed completely, almost guaranteed to win managers, and now finally we've failed our prodigal son. I think, like the way I felt about Delhi, for example, if we all knew he had to go, but then when you understand the ramification, when you understand the journey that the club and the player has been through, and it ends like that, it's sad. It's not a good thing. It's a shame. It's a stain on the club, I think, so yeah. So yeah.
All I'm going to say is next season is going to be fun no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, Ange Postecoglou has always
ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster, and we're all going to enjoy it.
I think we're going to take some batterings, man.
Next 2-3 weeks, it's going to be tough. Everyone's going to get used to it. The club's effectively.
I think it all depends.
Arsenal away in a few weeks, man. We got Arsenal away in 3-4 weeks.
They're going to ban.
Do you know what? It all depends on what we do the rest of this transfer window. Because if you take Harry Kane out that team right now, for me, it's not good enough to finish in the top 8, in my opinion. I just don't think it is. I think we'll play better football, and we'll start. I think what we'll do is we'll do kind of what Arsenal did, where we'll start playing. You'll see in a lot of games that the style of play is being implemented. You'll see the kind of patterns of play. You'll see the positioning of the players, and you'll see the kind of ethos and maybe the dynamics start to change. But it won't be anywhere near as good as what it probably could be in a couple of years. But I still think we need another centre back, and obviously we needed a young striker and another number 6. And I think if we were to do that, then I'd have more optimism for the season going ahead that we could actually do better than what we did last season, in my opinion.
But isn't that the key thing though, Danny? Is like, I feel like if we're all saying how badly the club has been run, we're starting from rock bottom. This is a club that for 5 years hasn't had an identity. Both Jose and Conte both did the same thing. It was defend for your lives, just get the ball forwards, Kane and Son. That's great, but what that means is now we're starting from rock bottom with no identity. Already in 4 weeks, we have seen that Postecoglou is getting belief back into those players, letting the shackles off and allowing them to play. But you're right, Danny. Whether we finish, for me, I've said, me and you have this chat loads, Dan, right? I don't care if we finish 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th this season. For me, the most important, because this isn't about 1 year. This is about actually, for once, implementing a plan, a philosophy, and a way of playing. So that if we finish 8th next season and people go, oh, we didn't improve, we might have improved on the pitch in terms of playing style. Players that might want to join us now because we're not playing god-awful football. Right, but that doesn't happen overnight. We've been so down in the gutter, so to speak. We've had no plan, no implementation, right? But we need time. Look at Arsenal under Arteta, 8th, 5th, 2nd. It takes time.
I agree with you, Sava, and I hope the fan base are patient enough for that. But let's say we are in like March and we're 20 points off top 4. And we're like sitting in mid-table. Are the board going to be patient enough? Because the reality is the boards historically haven't. Whenever we drop out the top 4 race or look like we got nowhere near it, then they start. That's when they push the button, and that's when they decide to make a change. So I agree with you, Sava. I really hope if we're seeing a philosophy on the pitch and we're seeing a direction, that the board are confident enough to stick with it. But I know just from history, whenever we drop out the top 4 race and we're far off it, we push the button and we sack him.
I'll be honest. I think if anyone thinks top 4, or people will say top 5, top 4. I just think that this year, this shouldn't be, whether it's the board or the fans, that should be a bonus to get 4th or 5th or 6th. That for me, I'm looking this season and saying the pressure's off. 4th, 5th or 6th is a bonus. I just think let's create a philosophy. Let's get a way of playing. And that's got to be the main thing. But fans are impatient.
I get that, but we're going to spend 170 million, potentially another 100 million. Are the board going to accept that? I don't know.
I think all of us actually, all of us have this patience and want to see it through. But I'm seeing also a scenario that's Nuno-esque. I can see I can see a scenario where we blow
Oh,
out.
he's nothing like Nuno.
Lay off Ange. Lay off Ange.
Hear me out.
Let Jory finish.
Ryan, let him finish.
Let Jory speak, man.
Let me put the scenario, and you can then comment on it. We don't continue with our defensive rebuild now. We'll get a minor, maybe one more minor player in, but not a Tetsup or anything like that quality. And we go into the season and we lose Arsenal 5-0, we lose Bournemouth 4-0. 2 or 3 results like that, you will have that stadium absolutely Kane gone, and those kind of results, they won't get to Christmas.
Do you know what, Jory? That's my biggest fear, right? Is the fact that as soon as the fans in the stadium start getting disgruntled and they start making their noise heard, like they're not happy what they're seeing in front of them, that puts pressure on the board. And then we know what the board do when that happens. They pull that trigger, and that's my biggest worry. And it's a matter of the fan. For me, it's more important that the fans get on board with Ange, not the board, because if the fans are happy with what they're seeing on the pitch, right? And even though we might be losing odd game here or there, we might get a battering, because we are going to get a battering at some point this season, right? It's going to happen, right? The way we play football now, we're trying to play football, but as long as the fans can see where where they're trying to make progress, then that's the most important thing. Because if those fans don't see that, then I really fear for the future of the club, in my honest opinion. Because if Ange was to get sacked before December, then honestly, guys, I've got no hope for this club whatsoever after Ange.
Let me just jump in on that. Yeah, this might be deluded, but honestly,
you're a Spurs fan, Josh. Don't worry.
No, but you know how pessimistic I am. Like they call me Lionel Pessi in the chat, don't they?
You've been pessing it up all day, Josh, man, all day.
but honestly, I'm so excited about Ange. I honestly think, and this is so deluded, but I think that he is like the whole of Europe have been sleeping on him, and he's actually so much better than most of these managers. Because you see, we're talking about how good Arteta is and like the whole league. And look, he's done an amazing job, but he did not have even better players than we've got like Sanchez, Dyer, and all that at the back. Yeah, he didn't have like David Luiz and whoever, Kolasinac and all that playing the kind of football that Ange has our backup players playing. When he gets going, he's gonna be a monster. And I honestly think, with no expectation, so we've got no Kane, the whole league is laughing at us. They're going to expect to batter us when they come to White Hart Lane, or like every rival thinks we're just going to be awful now. So with no pressure, no expectation, I honestly think Ange is going to do some crazy magic.
Josh, we're going to surprise a few people this year, man. I'm telling you, we're going to surprise a few people. I'm speaking to Arsenal fans, Man United fans. They think we could finish like bottom half or something this year.
Everyone does.
How do we think the players respond on Sunday to this news? Because obviously, as much as they're expecting it, he was in the team last Sunday against Shakhtar, scored 4 goals. It might come as a bit of a like.
That was they know.
I think they all know. They all know.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to be up for it, like looking to prove people wrong on Sunday, or be a bit slack?
Yeah, look how they played against Barcelona.
That's what I was about to say. Let me, lads. All right, listen. All right, let me get something in. I was going to say, with a B team, man, we were celebrating a loss. 4-2. Are you okay? 4-2. Whenever we ever celebrated a loss, as long as the players give 100% and the style of play, the attacking play. Like, whenever we ever seen our fullbacks like inverting, coming inside, like it's crazy the way we were playing against Barcelona A team. I know Barcelona aren't the same Barcelona as before, but at one point we had them. We were dominating them. We were on the ball. We were front-footed. We weren't shying away. We were getting as many shots as they had. We were getting shots as well, on target, off target, even down to possession. We were getting it in. You see what I'm trying to say? So as much as we might play bad, or we might not win, we might not get the results we want, I still think the fans won't tell. Because guess what? We are the fans. And we were all happy with the Barcelona performance. You can't tell me one person was like, oh, we should have. Okay. It was our second string team, and they got it. players like Sanchez, people were like, you know what? Sanchez actually played all right, you know. Yeah, look at Sanchez.
He made Sanchez look like Maldini.
No soul.
Do you know?
Look at Skip.
Yeah.
Look at Skip.
Listen,
Honestly, it's
Skip.
bad.
I was brushing him. I was brushing Skip in the stream literally like days before, and he goes and bangs 2, shut me up. I had to go eat humble pie. They're not going to see us coming. They're not. They're not going to. As I said before, there will be life after Kane. As Sam said before,
sure.
we've lost. We've lost Bale. We've lost Ginola. Sorry, Joey, go on.
No, I was just asked, but like I'm not a local fan, so you guys know it better. But the way it looks for me is that you have fans like all of us here, and that's probably the South Stand. The rest of the stadium and the rest of the fan community feels like it's completely not plugged into the finer points, to be honest. And if we come up against them again and again and again, and it's for me, I feel like, and even today, I was actually kind of shocked. Me and Danny were on another show, and to see the level of split that happened because of the rumor that Kane might not accept the deal, which is a Levy PR stunt all the way, in my view. And it doesn't matter now, but the massive split that it instantly caused was amazing to watch. You know, so I agree with you, but I feel like Spurs has been co-opted to a degree with customers, with day trippers, to a point where you know, clued in fans like yourself are often crowded out by a much louder instant result type voice.
Yori, I think a lot of people, though, unfortunately, like when Ange was announced, a lot of people didn't bother to go and do their homework. A lot of people literally just went, "Oh, Celtic, he must be rubbish." Like, I think it's really important that when we're linked with a player, when we're linked with a manager, a director of football, like, it's all there for all of us to go and research. And the more research I did on Ange, obviously we've known him from Celtic and from Australia, but the more research I did on him, the more I started going, I like everything about you, right? This is a manager that isn't gonna just me throw the players under the bus. This is a manager that goes, okay, here's the barrier, where's the solution? What can I do? And I think a lot of people, I reckon there's going to be a lot of humble pie from a lot of football fans towards Ange Postecoglou and this team come the end of the season. And hopefully by the end of the season, we can stop talking about Harry Kane. I know it's only happened tonight. I'm not saying now, but that is the thing. We will score goals. We will score plenty of goals with this attacking football. Sort the defense out. You know, now what I will say, guys, is if Daniel Levy doesn't spend that money, if Daniel Levy doesn't now go and get another centre-back, for example, a DM and a young forward or whatever positions, then I will be on your page and go, it was the worst thing ever. If he goes out and tomorrow, the next week, we go, here's
Gift Orban,
here's Orban, all of a sudden you've got to go, that's what big clubs do. They lose a player, you go and buy 2 very good players. If they do that, we can't then complain, because that is what all the big clubs do. Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, they lose players year after year after year, and they just go again. And that is what we need to do. So I'm really positive about this manager. I'm really positive about some of the young players we've brought in. And I'm really positive about watching us on the pitch. I've not enjoyed us. I didn't enjoy us once under Antonio Conte. Not once. Now I'm enjoying watching us.
This season?
The finishing part of his first season was amazing. I thought that was beautiful.
If you like counter-attacking football, yes, I don't.
I love counter-attacking football.
Cool.
I mean,
I can't stand it. I'm a Spurs fan. We don't play counter-attacking football.
I think Spurs have shown themselves to be the best counter-attacking team in the world, in my view. So I love it. But I love
not what we grew up on.
I love all football on their merits. You know, you need to do it well. Then, you know, and we weren't even trying to do Conte ball well, but he managed to get a tune out of them that last part of the first season. But and I mean, that's history anyway. We don't want to dwell on that. I'm absolutely excited by Ants. My fear is that Ants won't survive our fans and the media in England. That's my fear, because we are gonna have blowouts, especially when Levy doesn't feel enough pressure. He's gonna cheap out, and is he gonna cheap out on the defense now? We really like that. Defense is gonna get ripped apart often. You know, we have to rely on a second choice defender more often than not, and that's going to be the press target or the target for attack, and that's going to be the hole that's going to leak, and we're going to lose, and we're going to watch our players score beautiful goals, and then it's all thrown away by mistakes or Dyer not putting an effort in or whatever, you know, the usual stuff that we've been watching for 5 years, you know. I think I completely agree. If Ants completes this season, I think most people will be exactly proven wrong. Doubters. I don't think we'll get too high. I do think we might actually go and get some silverware. I do think Ants is the type of guy to lead a FA campaign or something like that and actually succeed in the first season. But I mean,
do you know what it is, Jory? Go on. Sorry.
No, Danny, you go.
So just to add on to what you were saying about Ange, I think what I like about him a lot, and when I was researching him, is that for him it doesn't matter what competition they're playing in. He just wants to win and play the right style of football. Like he goes into any competition and he wants to win. He wants to win, and that's like when we had Pochettino purposely. He purposely disregarded the cups because he wanted to go for the Champions League and he wanted to go for the Premier League, right? And I think that's the wrong attitude to have if you're a club who needs to try and win trophies and try and get better and actually get a mentality.
We need to learn how to win.
This is exactly it. And what I love about Ange, right, is that I don't know if you guys watched the interview he did a couple of weeks ago when they were asking him questions about Harry Kane and like what would happen if he left. And the way he answered was like, he's like, I don't care. Like it didn't faze him one bit. It was like if he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. I'm gonna use him. He's a world-class player. But if he goes, he goes. It was like saying, I'm used to this. It doesn't faze me. Like he was like, it doesn't bother me. And that's the attitude I like to see in my manager if things like that happen at the club, because you know that it gives you as a fan the belief that this is the right man for the job, and this is the guy who can get everyone behind him, sort of thing. And I think just by little things like he said, what was it, yesterday or the other day, where he wants every team to fear us when we play football and things like that. He wants to play the best type of football.
He wants to fear the life out of the opponent. I love that.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And this is what I mean. When you see these kind of quotes, Ben, time and time again, and then you hear these things like
Danny, can I ask you a question? All right. The funny thing for me is this. I've said this all summer. And you know my stance on Kane all summer, right? I've been like this all summer. This isn't, I'm calm. It's not, I'm calm today. I've been calm about it for years. I've known this is coming, right? You've all known it's coming as well. But obviously we all show emotion in a different way. How many other clubs in world football have a 30-goal-a-season striker?
Yeah, not many.
Right? Three. Haaland, Lewandowski, and Mbappe, right? Yeah. Other than Kane. Right, 3.
Benzema, maybe.
Osimhen, maybe.
No. Osimhen's had one season over 24 goals. One season.
Of course, yeah.
Right, so Benzema's now in Saudi, right? So this is my point. Nowadays, football isn't centered around one goal scorer. Yeah. If you look at all of the teams that are doing well, Brighton's top goal scorer last year had 12, but they had 8 players on 8 goals and above.
Well, look at Arsenal. 3 players on 15. Yeah.
Right, Arsenal. Aston Villa's top goal scorer last season. All right. You know, they got 16, 17, whatever he got. You've got to chip in from everywhere. And that's why I'm not worried about Kane going. I know that sounds ridiculous. This new way of playing. Under Conte, no one got into the box. No one was allowed to get in the box. Now, whenever you see us attack, we've got 4 or 5 players in the box. Skippy's in the box.
Question is, are our forward player options right now good enough to be getting 10, 10, 10 each? Or 15
with
Madison.
Well, we know Sonny is. We know Sonny is. We know Madison is. Madison's done it for 4 years in a row, right? this is where all the players that everyone's been bigging up need to step up. Kulu, got to step up. Right,
massively. This is a massive season.
Richarlison needs to get
I agree.
10 minimum. Get 10.
Yeah.
Madison 10.
Bare minimum.
Son
I
10,
think
15.
I completely agree with you, Sava. I think we'll see a lot of players like Sonny and stuff like that become different players. And I mean, the shadow of Kane is a large shadow, you know, and I do think a lot of players will feel a relief and a new, reinvigorated by not playing.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though they love the guy. So, and I do think that we have suffered with these managers that have insisted. I mean, I was big Conte, big Mourinho, and they insisted on building it around Kane. In general, I don't believe that. I think like the best example you can see is, I think Barcelona suffered for keeping everything Messi oriented. And we're talking about the greatest of all time. And even him, it was a detriment to that big club, I think, the last 2 years, instead of just developing the whole squad. You know, you need to develop all of them. And I completely agree. I don't think, as much as Kane is amazing and generational talent for sure, I don't think Tottenham should never be about one player and building everything about one player, especially Tottenham, who has this DNA of really attacking football. It shouldn't be just one striker. It should be a bombardment of low.
Yori, is this Ronaldo from last year? But for obviously different reasons that he's left to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But is this the Ronaldo? Oh my God, man, you were losing Ronaldo. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to kick on and actually we can cope.
I think
because
the difference here is that I think Kane would have scored. I think Kane with Ange would have been the Golden Boot winner. I think that's the difference. Ronaldo wouldn't have been. I think Kane would go 35 or higher under an Ange.
No, I know that, but I'm talking about in terms of Man United that year before. Everything was about Ronaldo. Everyone, when they got the ball, like the years before Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes was creating for fun.
Yeah.
Ronaldo goes there. He gives the ball to Ronaldo every time.
I see your point now. Yeah.
I know it's a difference in attitude. I'm not saying that Kane's got the bad attitude, but sometimes when a big star goes, you actually turn into a team.
Yeah.
Right. And
I hear you, Sava. I just don't think Kane was holding other players back like Ronaldo was. I think Ronaldo potentially was. I think Kane was elevating other players.
The structure was structured around Kane. And like my original argument in this was to get my boy Lucas Moura a little bit more game time and a little bit more role. And me and John, for example, thought we saw that the fact that everything is built around Kane is something that Lucas is not fitting into. If it was built more holistically around a whole front line, then Lucas would function better. But I mean, that's if and buts. But I'm just saying, whether it be Kane or Lewandowski or Messi or whatever, of course, you're gonna the other players become supporting players to that player. And it might be the best strategy for goals and wins and so on. But for the other players, it's certainly not the opportunity to shine their light. You know, they will be more free to do their stuff in a more team oriented.
I think. Do you know what, Yuri? I think what it does to the players, right? It stops them having to try and find Kane. If you look at it from a positive thing, right? It stops them. Yeah, it stops them trying to find Harry Kane, right? So like, what it probably do is it makes them kind of make them maybe think it in their brain a bit more what they can do on the football pitch, right? So rather than be like, oh, I'm programmed to give it to Kane. He's gonna drop deep. He's gonna whip the ball into the box. He's gonna take a shot from long distance or get the ball to Kane. It's like okay, now we've got to use the squad, like kind of what Sav was saying. You've got to now use the players and use everyone to try and try and
try and give you a difference. I don't think it would have been just the Harry Kane show.
I agree as well.
I agree as well with that. Yeah,
but he's gone.
It would have been about
Benny's gone.
Regardless of Harry Kane. This problem only comes under the previous structure, under Conte's, the Mourinho's, even Pochettino to a certain extent.
No, you're right. You're right. But hold on. But what we did see was Kane dropping into that hole where Maddison was like, wait, hold on, I'm meant to be here. Why are you here?
Yeah.
When Maddison's on ball, now he's no longer looking for Kane. He's looking for many more options. And not only that, before we had to play Kane. We had no choice. Kane was undroppable. Now the front line, no one's droppable. No one, like everyone has to change. Like Son could get dropped. Richarlison could get dropped.
Yeah, but Kane was undroppable because he got 30 Premier League goals. It wasn't undroppable. He wasn't out of form.
It's about creating competition within that front line, and competition raises the level. When you're looking to your talisman every time to get you out of trouble, that kind of makes your squad calm down all the time, because you're always looking for your captain, your leader. But guess what? You're going to have to step up. You're going to have to step up. You're going to step up. Do you know what I'm saying? In those moments, everyone has to step. It's no longer looking for Kane to get us out of, because there's better times where Kane will just get the header.
I just want to say,
boom, boom, boom.
I'll give you an example.
Let Josh come in.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jory. No, I'm joking.
All right.
No, basically, until Sunday, everyone was saying that Kane didn't suit Ange Ball. Not that he couldn't play in it. Everyone knows how good Kane is, but let's be honest, like the way, if you look at Ange's past teams, a Kane type striker isn't really his type of striker. He wants someone that proper runs the channels, is a great presser, is proper mobile, and Kane jogs around now. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't really press like
it's definitely his ideal type of striker, but I was always saying, no matter what, adapt to any system, he's that good, right? He's got a football brain. He's so intelligent. He's a genius, really, if you look at it. So I think he would have changed his game. And if you actually look at some of the stats Kane played in the preseason, his pressing stats were some of the highest stats we've seen in years from Harry Kane, right? So that just goes to show, like, I can't remember if Sean or someone was showing us the stats, right? He actually was pressing far more than he has been in the last few years. So that shows that he was buying into what Postecoglou wanted him to do, right? So I don't think it would have been a problem for Kane to adapt. I think it's kind of like an end of an era. It's just end of the cycle. It's like we kind of missed the boat with Pochettino, right? We missed that boat and we had to kind of cleanse that. And I think even for myself, I didn't want to see Harry Kane leave, because I love him because he's an absolutely unbelievable player, right? What he's done for the fans, what he's done for the club. But again, it's like at the end of the day, we did have chances to win trophies, and it was a mixture of reasons why we didn't win trophies. It wasn't just the team's fault. It wasn't just the manager's bad decision in certain moments. It was also not having enough in squad depth with quality players to try and push on and achieve those goals that we could have achieved under that era. But now it's like I think the only person left from that era now, once Lloris goes, there's only a couple players left after that. I think you've got like Dyer and Davis and Son.
Let's get them out.
And that's it.
Who do we think is going to be on penalties now?
Madison, probably.
Madison.
Yeah.
Madison.
Didn't he not score one? Like,
he missed one at the end of the season for Leicester.
And but for relegation, it's important, isn't it?
Against Everton, right? I think he missed one against Everton.
Richie take penalties as well, isn't it?
Sonny as well.
Richie, yeah. Look, I'm gonna go.
I actually don't like Son on penalties. I don't think he's a very good penalty.
He's awful on penalties.
All right, I'm gonna go, but I want to say one thing before I go. Yeah, I want to say one thing before I go. If we sign Gift Orban, we're finishing third. And that's it. Honestly, remember the most
centre back.
told you that. If we sign Gift Orban and a CB.
Okay.
I big up your chest every time, Josh. I rate it.
Just remember this stream by the end of the season, because we're going to have to go back and clip that one.
I don't care, bro.
What we're saying is Sonny definitely going to be the captain then.
I think Basuma might have a shout, to be fair, because he's
I'd love Basuma to be captain. Son's too up and down for me. So I don't see Son as a captain. Son's too when things are going wrong, Sonny's head goes like that. You can't have that in a captain. I think you've got to have someone upbeat and positive. Look, I don't know. Dyer.
Here we go. I think
Sava, what's going on with you? You're backing up Levy all stream. You want Dyer as captain?
No. Listen, I'm not backing up Levy all stream. Levy's made so many mistakes. It's unreal. But the biggest mistake would have been keeping him and letting him walk on a free. That's the biggest mistake. So
listen, situation is evolved.
And this one-off situation. Look, at the end of the day, look, I think. As with anything, there's a lot, as football fans, we're knee-jerk, we're emotional. Of course we are. It's what we do. We're football fans. But I think, as I said, in the short term, people keep saying we'll have a drop-off. I want to remind everyone, we were bloody awful last year. Are we dropping off from that? I don't think we're dropping off from that. I think we're actually going to go that way. Now, that's not saying, we're going to go that way because Kane's gone and he was a problem. No, Kane was sensational. Kane is one of the best players in world football. He is a magnificent goal scorer. But you know what? If he's gone, right? And then every time we go to pick a team, it can't be, if we had Kane. Ash Matic got his spot on. Yeah? No free forwards should be comfortable. No free forwards. We should be seeing, okay, this type of game suits Sonny on the left. This type of game suits Perisic. This type of game suits Kulu. This is Solomon. Sonny could go through the middle today. Richarlison's going to be better at hold. That is what a team should be, like what Brighton do, right? Like what
especially
Arsenal
with a manager like Ange, where it is a complete system, every player is involved in it, So I think, to refer to the other system and to your point, Sim. It's like if you took Haaland out and put Danny Ings into that Man City team instead, he would be 20 plus, So, that once you decide to structure in a certain way and you give a certain level of certain quality of service, the guy that's going to be the striker, he's going to score a lot of goals. So it's not only the guy, but Kane on the other hand, to maybe prove your point a little, is that even with rubbish service, he was actually delivering. So
just quickly, have you seen that Moises Caicedo, Brighton are about to accept a bid from Liverpool?
For how much?
It's looking like 80 million, but all in. Sorry, so hang on. The total package is going to be 110 million.
Yeah,
it says Brighton set to accept to break the English transfer record, and Moises Caicedo will become a Liverpool player on Friday.
So they're getting the title, Liverpool.
They're getting Brighton's midfield plus Szoboszlai.
That's insane. That's insane.
That's
an insane midfield. Yeah.
Well, we got Basuma and Madison.
By the way,
I'm not making Bentancur in a couple of months.
That was
the only thing I was feeling really good about was midfield, but now I don't feel that good about it even.
Don't watch other teams.
Liverpool are going to be dark horse this season, I think.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be.
They're going for it. I think. They must be. This.
Hang on, they could. How did they not get it's funny, they bid 40 for Lavia, then 42, then 45, and everyone's going, Liverpool broke. And then all of a sudden they go, all right, Chelsea, we'll play you at your own game. You want Lavia? We'll get
That's also what annoys me is
that's hilarious.
Because the economics that Levy is playing is completely American economics. We can't forget that it's all funded by American banks. We have the NFL always in his ear and all of that. Levy is completely playing by that hedge fund type approach in football. And you look at Arsenal and Liverpool, which actually have American owners, they are outspending us by miles. They're doing it in a much more beneficial way to football glory. And they're supposed to be the American greedy capitalists, but we seem to be outdoing them as well. It's only Manchester that kind of makes Levy. It's kind of in the ballpark with Levy, so yeah, it's annoying as fuck.
Do you guys think, sorry, Sim, do you guys think that we were going to buy 2 centre backs before the Kane saga happened? Because
No.
do you think there was no way we had that money?
Never.
I still think we're going to buy a cheap one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still doubtful we spend big on another one.
So you don't think that?
Don't sign a big centre back now. It's a disgrace, man. Why not go all out for Tapsoba now? We've just sold Kane for what?
That's what we should do. But
Tapsoba and Gift Orban. I'll be happy with that.
The Tapsoba thing, I personally think we were going for him. I think they moved the bar. I think it was like same with.
I know they did move the bar. I heard things like they moved the bar a little bit.
Yeah, like Mickey van der Ven, they moved the bar with him as well. We went for Mickey van der Ven. We were meant to get him for 35 million euros, whatever.
They moved the bar even more now for after Kane.
The reality is, if we're on Tapsoba, we're probably spending 2/3 of the Kane money on him. That's the reality.
Do you know?
Let's be smart. Let's be smart. If we're smart about it, you can get Orban for about 35 million.
Yeah.
You could get a good centre half for the same amount of money, and someone like, I know I'm playing Football Manager now, but someone like Sagare who sits in the front. If you can get all of that, but listen, guys, I've talked too much. I'm tired. I'm going to go.
I just wanted to, because moving the bar.
We're going all night, Sav. What are you talking about?
The reigning world champion.
We're going until we get the here we go. That's what we're going till.
I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Have a nice cheers for coming on,
Thank you.
See you. Now, as I was going to say, the reigning world champion of moving the bar is Daniel Levy. That's, nobody's ever going to challenge him.
We're getting our comeuppance. He's getting his comeuppance.
Exactly. You reap what you sow, eh, Jory?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Actually,
and we as fans of the club that he runs have to suffer through it. You know, he doesn't get it. It's us that suffer. So, yeah.
See, do you know what I think will happen? I think what we'll do is, if we are going to spend the Kane money, and just say in a hypothetical situation, I think we're going to go for someone like a Tosin or a Schurz. Right? I don't want Schurz, to be honest with you. I can't pronounce his name properly. I'm not going to even attempt it. But from what I saw of him when I was watching Ajax, when he was at Ajax for the 2 years I saw him there, he just reminds me of like a slightly better version of Eric Dyer. He's not a quick centre back. He's better technically. He's not great in the air. And I think Sean did a comparison of his stats and compared to Romero, and he's compared to Romero. Romero is a much better defender. And if you look at Schurz, the only thing that he's better at is maybe he's a bit more like an old school defender. So he's maybe better at one-on-ones than say Eric Dyer, but he's not. He's put it this way, I don't think he suits Ange's system whatsoever. Right? For me, if Tottenham are not going to spend big on a centre back, which I don't think they will, I think you go and get a Tosin. You go get an Orban, you sell Højbjerg, and go and get Sangare. And for me, that would be a good end of the window.
Danny, according to the stats, Longley's better than Gvardiol. So I don't know. I stopped trusting Sean's stats when that happened.
Well, I mean, look, I've actually watched him. And Ajax sold him, right? They were happy to get rid of him for 9 million euros when they sold him to Torino. Ajax would never get... Duran Timber was the guy who basically took over his position when he was playing at centre back when he broke into the Ajax team, right? And when he broke into the team, he looked like everyone was like, "Who's this kid? This kid?" His expectations were he was going to be the next Matthias de Ligt. Like that's what they expected him to be, like that type of player. But it never turned out like that, and he never kind of progressed from his breakout season when he broke out into the team. He kind of went a little bit like how Tanganga's career kind of went. It kind of went a bit like that when he was at Ajax. It kind of went. There was so much expectation on him that he's going to be the next big thing in the centre backs, and it kind of just went like that. And then they got rid of him.
Me personally, I'm not too mad about it, but I prefer Josip Sutalo from Dynamo Zagreb. I think aerially he's a lot better.
Oh, he's gone to Ajax, mate. He's gone to Ajax.
He's gone already?
Signed him. Yeah, he's pretty much about to. Yeah,
he would have been.
I would say, like, there's no way that you can think of any centre back without pace. Like that, like pace is the number one requirement.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you can read the game.
What about Bella Kotchap? How much would he cost?
Bella Kotchap is a good defender.
Yeah.
He wouldn't cost Tapsoba money, put it that way. I think
you get Bella Kotchap for 30 mil, 40 mil, surely.
I think that's what they'll go for, Ben. I think they'll either go for. I don't think they're going to go for a Tapsoba because I think he's too expensive. I think it'll be someone like that, or someone like a Tosin, someone who's maybe you can get for 10 to 20 million pounds, probably, maybe a little bit more, depending on the situation. But
you guys don't think there's any chance of talks with Vlahovic? I know that it's not normal, but I mean, that would be a little bit of damage control, I think, from the board, you know. And we have the Juventus link still. I mean, Paratici is in the back doing his thing.
If you were on a board, Jory, it would make sense. If you were running Spurs, it would make 1,000% sense. But because you're not running teams,
no. Well, it's because it's. I think it's also because they like I said, Ash, like Richarlison was always brought in as that Kane replacement. That was the goal, right? They probably knew it was coming, and I think, like I said earlier in the show tonight and before, that I think what I've seen of Ange and what I've seen of how the club have acted at the moment is I feel that they don't feel he's good enough to do the job, right? That's my personal opinion.
He hasn't proven to be, has he?
Yeah, he hasn't proven it. So, like I said, this is his season to do it. But they're going to want another young striker, like a Gift Orban, someone like that, who they know that they can maybe rotate those kind of players, Richarlison, Vélez, Orban, and Son, and between them can give them the output they need for the season, sort of thing. And then they can assess the season. Because in my opinion, if Richarlison doesn't hit the heights that they expect him to, bare minimum 10 Premier League goals. Bare minimum 10 Premier League goals. If he doesn't even get 10 Premier League goals, for me, you sell him in the summer. Get rid of him. Sell him to Real Madrid. Whoever wants him, sell him.
We won't do it because we won't get.
Yeah, I agree.
But we won't get any offers that's close to what Levy will want.
Oh, definitely not. You're right. You're right, Jory. That's what's going to be a problem.
You're going to have to take the hit. That's the
thing. But this is the problem. Jory's right. Yeah, he never does. Go on, Sim.
Yeah, when you look at the striker market at the moment, I think Orban is just the best bet in terms of value for money and potential. Like, unless you're going to spend 80 million on a Mawani or big money on a Vlahovic, you're better off just going for a guy with a even though he's not proven yet in Gift Orban. I think the upside could potentially be massive with a £25 million deal. So I think that's why it just represents the best course of action at the moment. Because unless you want to literally spunk all the Kane money on one striker without a guarantee, I think you might as well go for one with potential. So I think it is a smart move to go for someone like Orban. And I understand why they're going in that direction. Unless you
take all the money and spend it on a worldie, you go and get Kavisha on the left, or maybe even about the striker from Dortmund, Yusufa Moukoko.
Moukoko, you could do that. He's 18. He's quite young.
Yeah,
but again, I think the club have been burnt by Richarlison and Ndombele and Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to take far less risk when it comes to buying players for over 50 million euros or pounds, whatever you want to call it.
And as you said as well, that he wants young players. He wants a younger player. So I think a young player that's quite like under the radar, not quite known. I think he wants to be able to develop that person and just take him to that next level. Not someone with an ego or chip in the shoulder, someone that's done it already. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
We got to trust the Ange recruitment as well, because he's done it everywhere he's gone. This kind of thing, he's gone in and brought in unknown players to the specific teams every single time, and they've all been hits. I mean, look at all these players he brought in from the J League to Scotland last year, and how they all smashed out.
Do we already have his background staff around that part of the recruitment?
Only was it?
I believe in most of his former clubs, he did the recruitment by himself. I read.
Yeah, he never carried staff with him. He
always did staff all the clubs.
Yeah, I think he only had like 2 new staff that came into the club, didn't they? And that was it. I think it was something like that. And I think what you've seen is it does look like the club are going in that data-driven model, right? They're starting to do that, and I agree they should have done. But you can see with like identifying targets like Van der Ven, identifying targets like Gift Orban. Those are the type of players you want to be linked with if you're going to be linked with players, right? Because so for me, Gift Orban, like you were saying, Sim, I think he is the perfect person right now because he's still not proven fully yet. He's had one amazing season in Genk, right? And he's taken it into this season already, and he's already producing again this season. And I think if you don't take that chance now this season, I think next season he's like 40-50 million pounds. He goes up even more. I think he goes to a bigger club. Yeah, you're probably right.
You know what? I think if we don't sign him now, he'll go to RB Leipzig, he'll go to Borussia Dortmund, he'll go to one of these clubs, and he'll be worth like 70, 80 million in like a year or two's time.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree.
But wasn't Mickey van der Ven, wasn't that a player that Ange wanted at Celtic as well?
It was, yeah, it was.
He
But
said he's
also
been tracking for a while.
Yeah, but he also, I think that because Ange uses his own like data-driven model, because Ange is he knows his football. Like he watches a lot of football worldwide. He watches a lot of leagues, and I think that's what's really good about Ange. He's like a football encyclopedia, this guy. And I think that's one thing that it definitely helps us if we're trying to be this club who are not going to go and spend the 60, 70, 80 million euros on a striker or on a player.
That's the thing. Can you imagine the resources and the revenue of Tottenham being run by a team like the Brighton team or Brentford, something like that? We would be we would be one of the giants in world football. You know, it doesn't have to be about the biggest spend. You know, that's one model. That's the Real Madrid model for sure. And we've proven that we don't have the stomach for that. So let's go for the data and put even more resources into it, because then we actually can be the big boys in the data arena, you know. And it's been obvious for so long I think, that we should go this way. Yeah.
I completely agree, and it's crazy how we heard reports in the summer about how Tottenham finally see the value in the data-led approach. It's like, it's 2023. What have you been doing? It's like exactly. Crazy how you've only just started to invest in that area of the club. It's like data has been such a big part of like not just football, but like how people are making decisions around the world, and and you're finally just getting to grips with it. It's just absolutely madness that is taking.
And that is the question, Sim. What have we been doing? Because we've not been, this is the biggest superstar in the world, let's buy him, like Real Madrid or Chelsea or whatever, you know. But we've tried to have that kind of appearance. We've tried to pretend like we belong in that club. But then, you know, when the scouts actually do a pretty good job, Levy fucks up the deal and so on, you know. So it is, you know, what have we been doing in terms of running the club? And that's,
how many signings do you think we do? Like with this Kane 87 mil or 85 mil, however much we get?
I think it's also dependent, like if Højbjerg stays or goes, I think it's dependent on a lot of outgoings. I think there's a lot more outgoings still to come, but let's say like if Højbjerg stays, I don't think we sign another midfielder. I think we go with what we got, in my opinion. But I definitely think we're bringing a forward. I don't think we go into the season without bringing at least another forward. And then I still think we bring another centre back. But I don't know if we spend big on him.
Does nobody like my idea of a Højbjerg Felice deal with Sonny as a new number one striker?
Who's João Felix?
Yeah, João Felix. Yeah.
Oh, he would be brilliant, João Felix. I would spunk the money on Felix, to be honest.
Put him on the wing.
Really?
I would do it. I think he'd be perfect for Ange.
Wouldn't you rather spend the money on someone like Eze?
Eze is brilliant.
I actually think João Felix might go a lot cheaper than what people might think.
I'll go for Vega.
I don't know if they're going to get the money they want for him.
I love Eze, but you're kind of spending a lot of money on a player that we're not desperate for. As much as I like him.
Well, is it what's his name out injured? What's his face? Brian Hill. Brian Hill, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like Eze on the right wing. I don't think he's a right winger.
Yeah, that's true.
He plays as a number 10 or he plays on the left.
This is what I mean. It's like we're not fixing anything in the midfield, but in that deal we would then move Sonny as a fixed striker. He's going to be an all-out striker now. And then replace him with João Felix on the wing. So,
or you can play Felix up front, and you can switch it. You know, you can do both of them. I think Felix is versatile enough. He can play both. He can play behind. He can play up front. He can play on the wing. I think
I don't rate Felix that much. I honestly don't.
No, I don't. But this, I think Anne's football is exactly what Felix. He needs a lot of touches, a lot of technical, a lot of back and forth like we're doing, you know, and that's certainly not Atletico Madrid. That's as far from Ange football as you can get, really.
If you think about the game against Shakhtar on Sunday and like how often Son was finding himself in space on that left-hand side and wasn't doing enough when he was able to beat a man. If I was just envisaging Felix in those positions, I think he would run riot. I really
Why don't we try and go in for Mohamed Kudus? He hasn't gone anywhere yet.
He's going to Brighton.
Kudus would be great.
No, he hasn't gone to Brighton. Apparently, there's a deadline to agree the deal, and it got passed or something.
Oh, really?
There were rumours that it was falling through, but there's a lot of things that are...
Kudus would be a good shout, right? But he's kind of become more of a centralized player. So he's more like in the Madison type of role. That's where he can play on the wing. He can, but I think he prefers being that central attacking midfielder.
I guess the question is, do we see ourselves making like a big marquee signing with this money, like spending 60 million on a player?
No,
that's the thing. I see it maybe as a PR kind of defensive move from the board. That's why I'm thinking maybe a Vlahovic could be viable, because
I think Moani makes more sense.
Say what?
Moani makes more sense.
Moani is the guy who I want if they were going to spend the money.
Wing, like a Chiesa, I think Chiesa will be great. But Moani can play an either wing, either flank, because he's good in 1v1 situations, and he can play a striker. Last season, he got something like 11 assists.
I'm not saying it because I want Vlahovic. I'm saying it because we have the Juventus connection, and I'm saying it because Vlahovic was the hottest property 2 windows ago or 3 windows ago.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so it would create the headlines that the board would go for and all of that, So I'm not saying it as my preference, even though I would definitely, I would certainly not say no to him. And I do feel like Vlahovic is a little bit more of a proven entity than even a Gift Orban or whatever. But I also think like the time to take chances is now, not to.
See, do you know what, Jory? If it was me, right, and I was running that board, the statement signing I would go make, right, is Tapsoba, because rather than go spend the money on a striker, I think if we get a Gift Orban, I think we've got enough in the front line for this season anyway. Because we're not in Europe, so I think we've got enough to kind of balance the load of goals where they're coming from. If you look at all the attacking players and you add in Son, Maddison, if you have an Orban, Vélez, you've got Solomon, Kulu, Perisic, Bentancur, Basuma, and maybe from other players as well. You might get a couple from the
we reckon Orban gets 10 Premier League goals if he comes.
I think so.
In this system, right? I mean, I reckon a lot of
this Lukaku guys.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't want Lukaku.
I don't want Lukaku. Nowhere near.
That's to Lukaku.
Because that's
some Italian journalist, wasn't it? I think.
Bro, I can actually see Levy wanting that as well. Ange won't want
I can see that. No,
I
definitely
can see Levy wanting it though. It'd be one of those like, Levy gives him a present on the last day of the window. Romelu Lukaku.
He's like this.
Oh,
I reckon he would score goals.
Oh, his touch is awful, Sim. Come on, he's
terrible. He's a goal scorer.
He's got
Richarlison. Yeah, I can't say he's no worse than Richarlison. Let's be honest, he's no worse than Richarlison with his first touch. The only problem is,
you can handle one of them. You can't handle both of them.
Exactly.
Take off Richarlison.
They'll be playing through balls to each other with their bad touches.
If you look at Gift Orban, his actual first touch is not like the best. It's not the most amazing first touch, but it's his conversion rate, which is what's astonishing. If you look at his I don't like stats, but if you do look at like his XG from last season, what it was something like 12, and he scored like 22 goals. So it was like if you actually look at the shot to conversion rate, he is clinical finisher. He's
Danny as well.
And he's a powerful striker. He's rapid.
Like outside the box, inside the box, top corner,
both corner, both feet. Left foot, right
this
foot.
is exactly the reason. This is the same reason I'm excited for Sonny to be a striker, because he outperforms his XG like no other player really. When he's not having a down period, he's both footed. He scores more with his worse foot than his good foot, and so for me, Sonny could be an absolutely deadly striker, but of course he needs to be there in his head for sure, and if that's,
I would take him.
Ange doesn't seem to think of him as a striker at the moment. He seems to only play him on the wing. Hasn't had any minutes.
I know. For me, it's surprising. I think he could be a really deadly striker. So,
and I think as well he could really help with like a really intense press, like getting close to defenders, trying to bring them down. I think on that way, I agree. I think it makes sense. The only worry, I guess, I would have is when you come up against low blocks. Like, does he have like the physicality to like get him in and amongst it, that kind of thing?
Speaking of that,
I'll play him on the right. I'll play him on the right as an inside forwards. So you see how Kulu kind of operates on the right, and he's got more space to operate into, because when our like Skip, for example, he's our 8, he's our box 8, but he arrives late, so it just gives that space. Or sometimes if it's whoever's on that right hand side, they give a little bit more room, like Porro or Emerson Royal. They invert to kind of line up with Basuma in that midfield when they make a 2. So there's a little bit more space in that right. That's why Kulu likes to cut in quite a bit and gets many shots. I think if Son was there instead of Kulu, I think he could operate as that kind of like, not false 9, but inside forward, and you get a lot more shots that way, as opposed to just being like that focal point. Like you were saying, Sim, he's not physical enough maybe to unlock if teams are doing a low block, whatnot. And then you could probably have a Perisic on the left, or a Solomon on the left, because they kind of hug that kind of touchline a little bit more, and that gives more space for whoever's the fullback to kind of invert, whether it be Reguilon or whoever it is. You know what I mean?
In a weird way, I do think Son as a striker against low blocks will be better in this system than he was like under like Conte against low blocks, because if you've noticed, like we always tried to do low crosses into the box under Ange, and also we're looking for like quick interchanges in around the box. I actually think Son could definitely be more suited to that.
Exactly.
But sometimes that's not enough.
That's actually because it's good that you mentioned low block, because the 2 real games that we have had, or I mean, Barcelona was a real game as well, but 2 of the 3 was actually team sitting back. I wouldn't say it was a massive low block, but they were sitting back at least. And we didn't, the wall that we kept running into for the last 3 years when we came up against these low block teams didn't seem to be as much of a problem there. There was we managed to create a lot of movement and a lot of space, even though they were sitting back, so
you were playing well against the low block.
Yeah. So
it's very different though when the season starts and people are actually in their groove and defending properly, because that West Ham game, we played a second-rate West Ham team. It wasn't even their first team,
But also you have to, in the same way, Ben, you also have to say we'll become sharper with our passing, with our movement, and so on. So it goes both ways. But I'm not taking too much out of it, but what I am taking out of it is that it's not this same, let's attack the wall. It didn't work. Let's go back. Let's attack the wall. It didn't work. Let's go. It was just flowing in and around the area anyway. And okay, sometimes we lose the ball, but at least the work was being done in the right place. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen when we go up north to Burnley or whatever. One of these. Now Burnley is not the Burnley they used to be. Some other team, then pick your team. Somebody that's going to present a massive block. How are we going to break them down?
It'll be interesting. Sorry to cut you, Jory. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Brentford, because they're going to come onto us, and typically before we like teams that come onto us because that just creates so much space in behind, and I think like that will suit.
What worries me the most now.
I think that's once one's got space to attack him behind, I think that would suit him a great deal more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just Son as well. A few of our other strikers, even Kulusevski, could even start, and we'd have space in behind to attack and hurt teams.
I'm mostly worried about the kind of Brentford type teams that are really good at the pressing and like really kind of a poacher pressing and this kind of stuff, because that's when we're gonna have our blowout games, and I'm sure even if we bring in another centre back, we're gonna have some pretty bad results. That was at least what
come up against Arsenal in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Exactly. That's probably the most
best time for them to underestimate us.
You are. Exactly. That's how I look at it. Let them underestimate us.
You got to. I mean, how many players do you think we're actually realistically going to get out, lads? What do you actually think?
Out of the Kane deal?
Well, no, as in like how many players do you think we're going to sell
until the window closes?
Yeah, like because I'm not sure. Like I think also that plays a massive part in how many players we can actually bring in. I think it's that if you actually look at the actual amount of players, if you take Kane out right now, you take Lloris out, you take Rodon out, it's 34 players I think it is that's left, right? Or something like that, 34, 35 players. So there's still they need to still get rid of about 9 players or so. And I think they've got to try and get out a few before they can bring in, or I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I think it's a big part of also trying to get players in. So I don't know how many players do you actually think realistically we're going to get rid of.
I just want to break it down in terms of who leaves. I think that's the best way to do it. So at the back line, I think Sanchez will go. Rodon's already gone, as you said.
Yep.
And I think obviously Longley didn't come back because he's on loan. So there's a spot there technically. So that's 3 spots, I'd say, that's available. I think we do get another defender in out of the 3 that's missing, sorry. So I think that's 1 spot. I know we're trying to cut the squad down, but I honestly think it's a 1 in, 1 out kind of saloon kind of, I think because Højbjerg was a mainstay, he was like one of our main players. Yes, Saar and Skip, they seem to be like our number 8s. Not the most attacking ones, but we've got obviously Gio staying, you've got Madison staying, so those 2 are kind of be fighting for positions.
Is Gio confirmed staying, or like?
I think he is going to stay.
I think he likes him because the comments he came out with, like, he doesn't need to get in Spain, he doesn't need to get in the plane, he can just stay here. I think that indicates that he's part of the plans, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
That's great news if that's true.
Yeah, he's been playing well. So
I think he suits Ange's system. You've seen it in pre-season. I've been very impressed with the Celso. I think, I think he's had a kid recently, not long ago. I think he looks more mature as a player, and the football and the system, it suits him, and his passing looks brilliant. He's driving. He looks fitter as well. He actually looks physically stronger, which is actually a
more aggressive shooting. I think like he shoots much more than
So I think him and Madison as our like number 10s, so to speak. I think is good options for now. Give him a chance. I think Ndombele will probably go. I think they'll get rid of him.
That was what I was going to say. Ndombele and Højbjerg. So in midfield, I think Ndombele, Højbjerg will go, and
1 more needs to go if we want to bring one in, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's a 3 in defense, 3 midfield, and then up front, obviously Kane's gone, and I've got a question mark on Brian Hill. I know he's got a slight injury, slight not. But I'm not 1,000% that he wants to be here.
He's probably the most likely, I think.
Yeah, out of all of them.
Do you know what though? Do you know what? Funny you say that. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you guys see an interview with Brian Hill and they showed some quotes from him and they were talking about like his season at Tottenham? Did you see it, Ben?
Yeah.
Do you remember what he said?
Are you talking about the one that he's just done recently?
Yeah, there was one recently. Yeah,
he was saying that how he's got a lot of synergy with the manager and he feels like he can really play in his system and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's something like that, and he was like saying this is the best he's felt at Tottenham in a while, or something like. He said something on those kind of lines. It kind of made you think that he's obviously had that chat with the manager, and the manager likes him, and he likes.
I believe in Hill, man.
Yeah. I think especially in Ange's system, man.
In an Ange system,
he's a relentless presser, Brian. He'll press.
And he's technically gifted as well. Technical player.
Yeah. I agree. So I think 3 at the back.
Yeah.
2 in the midfield. So that's 5. Lloris 6. And I think that's Kane, obviously 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I
think
be just in my head, I thought
Reguilon. What about Reguilon?
Yeah,
maybe?
One of the fullbacks. That's 8. Yeah. In my head, I had 10. I had 10 originally because that's every other club he's gone to.
Yeah, Spence.
But we need another defensive fullback.
And we've already got rid of Winks as well.
Yeah, we do.
We really got rid of Winks.
The fullback for this season is going to be Davis and Emerson.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have to live with that if that.
Yeah, because it's not all going to be done one window.
Yeah,
so I think this window we'll get rid of like 9 to 10 players.
But having both Davis and Bayern the club still is a problem for me.
I agree. It will get solved next season.
Dyer's contract is up at the end of this season, man. He's got one.
They're not going to renew.
To endure. That's it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think everything will get resolved this season. I think it will take a season. That's why I think I reckon there'll be a few hiccups along the way.
Yeah,
it won't be straight away that Ange gets us to where the promised land, whatever that is to fans or whatever it is to the board. That's why I think the following season, that's when he'll be able to do the big chop again. I think 10 this window, and then the next window he'll chop again. And then I think by then, I think even by January, I think he'll get a few players. I'm just looking at what he did at Celtic when he got like Kyogo and he got
Katate,
etc. That was all in January. Like he did a big job at the start, and then he managed to like shake it because the board for Celtic, they started believing in him. They started seeing what he was doing, the ambition. So I'm kind of thinking that's going to be the same thing that happens to us. Everyone's expecting, not everyone, but I'm saying a lot of fans in their head think we could do it all in one swoop. No, we're not going to get every single striker or every single winger right now, or midfielder right now, or defender. And that's the reason why I don't think the Tapsoba deal will happen. I think we'll get one more in, but it'll be a lower, cheaper option because the Van der Ven deal was like the big deal. That's why there was a lot of press about him, like a new Dutch kid and da-da-da-da-da. I think the second one will be a little bit lower. And then I think we'll go again in January if we need to. And then next summer we'll go again for another defender.
Where are we finishing this season?
6th for me. I'm ambitious.
Wow, that's quite high.
I'm ambitious.
Sorry?
Well, I mean, I think, if we don't have the disaster where the fan pressure goes to get him out, basically, and that happens, I do think we'll finish higher than we expect. I think I can join them as in 6. Yeah, I can.
The only reason, can I put context on it? Because obviously last season was horrendous and we finished 8th.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like the only way is up. So if people want to argue 7th, I'm here for it. But I think 6th because I think we're only in one competition. Well, we're not in one competition. We're in the FA Cup, but you know what I mean. We're not in Europe.
Yeah,
we're not
one
in
game a week essentially.
By the way,
and the fact that he rotates, I think that's a massive bonus. Like he likes to press relentlessly. Newcastle, they're used to time wasting. 51 minutes, I think they always had the ball in play. Only 51 minutes. So I think they're going to suffer a little bit because they're not going to be able to time waste. Their legs going to tire. Their squad is not that deep. It's not that thick as much. They're starting 11 strong, but they haven't got that depth for. And then Champions League is a new era for them. It's a new dynamic for them. They're going to be in Europe as well. It's going to be a new dynamic for them. I don't think their squad's that deep as well. Aston Villa, I'm not too sure about. Question mark. They could do well. They might not. I think with Aston Villa, I think Unai Emery is going to target the Europa Conference
100%
first trophy. Because that's what he does. He goes to a club and he goes to Europe and that's his thing. So that will help them qualify for the next Europa Cup. You know what I'm saying? So they don't need to necessarily finish high. So my thing is Ange is going to catch a lot of teams out surprise. I think we'll do better against the top 6 than people will think as well. Like, like the big clubs. I think see what happened with Barcelona. We might not necessarily win, but I think against the bigger teams, we're going to give them good games, and then people are going to start to recognize, right? You know what? They're not going to see us coming. That's the reason why I'm optimistic, and I think a slice.
I agree with that. I think, however, we're going to have blowouts against teams that we're not used to having blowouts against.
Definitely. But, you might even see that this Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. But I was gonna put mine into context as well, which is I'm going to ask you guys is what competition do you think Ange is going to prioritize? Is he going to prioritize maybe the FA Cup? Or because to be honest, I think Ange is the guy that will
prioritize, Jory, because we don't have Europe, so why can't we go for everything? It's only still one game a week.
No, I know, but when crunch time comes, where is he going to put his first choice team? If it's I know
there is no
breathing space now.
Now that Kane's gone,
and so on.
Now that Kane's gone, there's no certified starter. In my opinion, I don't think there's maybe like
what I mean, guys, is what's gonna be his main campaign? However,
do you know what? I think I'm with Ben. I think it's everything. Like I was saying earlier, I think his mentality is to go into any game and win and try and win and play the right way. I think for him, it doesn't matter what competition it is. I think it's all about playing the right way and winning the right way. So I think it also depends a lot on. See, what I'm interested to see is how that relationship with the board is, because if we are saying an FA Cup, right, just say we manage to get to like the quarterfinal and we get to the semi-final, right, and we're fighting for the 6th position to get into Europe, or 5th and 6th, we're fighting in that position. If he wants to play his first team to try and go into the final of the FA Cup and then try and win the final, it could be a conversation that Levy has again, saying, look, I want you to focus on the Premier League. Then it's going to be the interesting scenario to see how he deals with that. Because look what's happened to Mourinho when Mourinho said, no, I'm playing my strongest team. All right, see you later, mate.
But we know
that's
only if top 4's on the line, Danny, though. That's only if top 4's on the line.
Yeah, but it's top 5 now, Ben. It's top 5.
Top 5
now. I think we can finish 5th this year, by the way. I don't see why not. I'm looking at Newcastle as the team that we can catch.
Yeah,
they're in Europe. They've never been there before.
You have to agree. You don't think that if we don't bring in centre backs, right? We need more.
Of course.
Oh yeah. If we don't bring anyone else in, we're not finishing there. We're finishing lower than we were last season.
Yeah, it's all dependent. You can't sell Harry Kane for 100 million, not bring in players.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, guys, from what I've read and what I've heard from Ange, he says when it comes to cup games, it's a different ball game because you only get one shot. Yeah. It's not 2 legs. It's not like it's different to like a Prem game. You know, you Prem game, you lose, you have that pep talk, you pick yourself up, you go. You go again, but you know, you've got another game on the weekend to revive yourself. Cup games, you don't. It's one chance. That's it, and that was what he said. It's not quote for quote. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what virtually came out of his mouth, and that impressed me. So Ange is a winner. Don't get it twisted. Wherever he's gone, he's always gone for those titles, those cups. He's that kind of.
I think he might prioritize a cup in the first season because exactly like you say, it's the perfect environment to mold that winning mentality. You know,
you're right. Yeah.
This is going to be the vibe of like Poch's first season, right? Where you know you saw glimpses of stuff coming through, but we weren't a finished article. We finished 5th in the league. We got to the Carabao Cup final, something like that. Yeah. I'm looking at that as like the hallmark of what the season's going to be.
Yeah,
like.
I agree.
Yeah, that's right.
But look, guys. My laptop's about to run, so I think we're going to have to call it here. 2 in the morning. But thank you guys for coming on. We'll do this all again tomorrow. We'll be going live again tomorrow if you guys are interested. During the day.
Cheers.
So, Jory, big up for coming on. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sorry, man.
Ash, thanks for coming on.
As always, man.
Danny, thanks for coming on, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me, man.
It's the late night shift on We Are Tottenham TV today. I absolutely love it. Look, I think the takeaways from today is that Harry Kane is gone and it's a sad day for Tottenham, but there are plenty of reasons to be positive about moving forward into this season under Ange Postecoglou. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.